People, I don't know, like people can be joy killers. Joy
Yeah.
killers. Have you
So
go ahead.
I was going to say, maybe we just need to figure out who, maybe we sort of have to decipher who our joy killers are,
Ooh.
right? Like maybe people can only kill our joy if we allow them to. And I think about something else that was in this TED talk. Brene Brown says something about the people that we allow in, right? That we open ourselves up to feel this joy with us. Don't take feedback or input or insight or advice or any of that into account from people who are not also showing up and being vulnerable. She actually says, like, from people who are not in the arena with you.
Mm.
And it's like, if you're not being vulnerable and if you're not being your true self and you're not allowing me to see you, but you have a lot to say about my life, then
Step out the arena.
step out the arena.
Is that what you just said? If you're not fighting, get out the fight.
If you're in the cheap seats and you're making fun of me, or if you're like making comments about me, and if you don't want to come down out of the cheap seats and come in here and face me and talk to me, then step out of my life. Well, not step out of my life. Maybe that's a little harsh, but it's like, well, then somehow we have to find a way. The person who's being vulnerable has to find a way to like quell that person or suppress that person's voice and not make it louder than their own voice.
Have you found yourself in that situation? Like when, what
Yeah.
people are like, I don't know, judging you for being in the arena, but yet they're on the sideline and they got shit to say. And it's like, dude, you're not even fighting the fight, but yeah, you got opinions.
Absolutely. Like I can relate to it from a work perspective. Like when I was an administrator, like an assistant principal, I can relate to it from that aspect all the way to, so from work all the way to just my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that, yeah, there was a point where I was giving, I think mostly at work, where I think people skewed more to tradition. And I don't feel like there was like I went through this phase where there were growing pains for me where I didn't quite feel like I fit into this tradition, especially like within the education world. And I'm not saying like all educational institutions are the same, but I didn't feel like I was accepted. And that might have been my own insecurities, or that actually might have been the insecurities of others that they were projecting on me. I'm not quite sure. But there were times where I did feel like people had a lot to say who weren't necessarily taking the chances and putting themselves out there. And it's like sometimes in education, you try things, you have to try things because we're dealing with the human brain, which is so obscure and which is so unpredictable. Right. And it's like, I don't know the best way for this to happen, but I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to produce this. Let's get together. Let's create this thing and we'll have to try it and see. And if it fails, it's okay. But I also feel like at times there's this culture at work where that's not accepted. Everyone wants to talk about how innovative they are, but a lot of people don't want to talk about supporting failure at work. So I feel like oftentimes at work, I experienced that where people were in the cheap seats and they had a whole bunch of feedback and there were a lot of like emails, flying around. None of those people who were sort of sending those emails or making those negative comments were actually stepping up to the plate. I was the one who was taking chances. Me and a couple of other people, we were the ones who were stepping up to take chances and making ourselves vulnerable. And I feel like sometimes people are always looking for someone to blame. And it's usually the person who is taking the chances. See, I told you that wasn't going to work. I told you.
That's the easy way out.
Well, right. So what about you?
I would say, yeah. I mean, I think way back when, I'm trying to remember, like, obviously, I mean, I'm not in education. I wasn't ever. And I applaud you because I think education is one of the hardest field to be in because you're just working with, like you said, the human mind. It's hard because people are so different across the world. It's so different culturally, or I think it's the hardest. I think it's the hardest demographic to work with. My background is more finance. It's money. Money talks. So it's pretty like cookie. it's like, show me my money. I gave you this. I need that back. So it's like,
Right. Did it make money? Are you here to talk to me
right,
about money? Am I profiting from this conversation?
they're not trying to grow from the conversation.
Right.
They need no growth aside from their money growing. So it's different. So it's like more cookie cutter. Yes, this is what I gave you. This is what I needed back. I didn't get it back. Why didn't I get it back? And that's very simple. There's no like pushing it. So, but you addressing it is, it's different. It's not as complex as, as your field.
What about in your personal life? Do you feel like there are people in the cheap seats who sometimes make comments or
All the time.
okay.
All the time. Like yeah, all the time. Yeah, people always want to take shots at you. I mean, do I want to embrace it? No, I'm good. I'm not
Yeah.
interested. I'm not interested in your shit because, again, I feel like it rolls back to our past episode. It's your perception of my life. It doesn't really fit my life. It's what you think I'm living, and I'm good. Like if you're not in it with me, if you don't know what I'm bad, you come to my house on a Tuesday. If you know what happens at my house on a Tuesday, sure, you may take a shot at me. Otherwise, no, thank you. No, if you just here on a Saturday, on a Sunday, that's party days. Like we're party. We're up for anything. We have a good time. Right.
Right.
But if you're here on a Tuesday when shit hits the fan, when it's the real deal, you know what I mean? When there's breakdowns, there's dinners to be made, there's, people falling short on their goals or you know what I mean? Like I need people to be pumped up and like encouraged and pumped to like face the world and face their demons. Like, no, thank you. I don't need your opinion. Like I don't know if it fits. But yeah, but people are entitled. They feel like entitled to say, yeah, like you know what? I also think that I'm quick to like give opinions. So I must say, I ask. I'm like, hey, do you want my feedback? And if you
Yeah.
say no, I will step back. But I've this is very recent also. Like I'm not out to just say you should do this,
Yeah.
you should do that. Because I've come to realize that, again, life isn't one size fits all. I feel like I'm falling back to our podcast.
Do do do.
You know what I mean? Like I catch myself as like, do you want my feedback? And if you say no, I get it.
Yeah.
I don't expect you to say yes all the time. But I ask for permission. Like if you give me a permission, sure, I'm gonna move forward with it. But no, like shit's not the same.
That's good. So it's like, hi, I'm not a joy killer. But
No.
if you'd like my feedback, I'm happy to give it to you. If not, I'll be happy to go back up to the
Oh,
cheap seats and be
yes.
quiet and eat my popcorn.
I am exiting to the left for my popcorn and my drink and my two-step.
And you know where to find me when you need me.
Yes, because I know you going to need me.
Mayday, you're going to need me.
You're gonna need me. I know. It's just a matter of time and realization and coming to terms with shit. And it may take people some time, but you know what? I ain't going nowhere. So I don't know.
That makes two of us. We're not going anywhere.
I got nowhere to be.